Yeah. What is good, my people? This is Run It Back Philly alongside Swipa Cam, the most loved content creator in the Philadelphia 76ers community, especially on Twitter. You know what, man? What's up, Swipa? You got a lot to say today, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give you the stage, man. Go ahead and open the show. You got things you want to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. First, shout out, man. DJ Eastwood, running back Philly, man. Great content creator. My boy got 13,000 subscribers now. On the way to 20, on the way to 25, on the way to 50, on the way to 100, bro. Man, you do it better than a lot of folks do it on YouTube, bro. Your content is top tier. The show you run, the dedication, the program you run, and all that stuff, bro. So I know folks in Philly. I know y'all excited to have it, man. I mean, you got a great content creator. So shout out, man, to the man, number one. Number two, man, hey, look, man, I love the Philly fans, man. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Y'all have brought me so much joy over the last 2 years. These last 2 seasons have been so memorable because of you all. Like, you all are great. The energy and the dedication and the belief you have in the Philadelphia 76ers is excellent. I am thankful to live in such a time as this, to get a chance to partake in the greatness of your franchise, to have the second best player in the NBA in back-to-back years. It's such a feat.
I'm about to cut this shit off, man.
Have the second best player back-to-back NBA.
The second most voted by the mainstream media, correct?
Yeah, there you go. The second most voted.
ESPN votes.
Second most voted in mainstream media, soon to be back-to-back second team All-NBA, Joel Embiid.
Now you know damn well it's second team All NBA.
I think he should be first team. If the rule had been what it's supposed to be the last several years, he would be first team. So trust me, man, I'm not even upset about it, bro. I completely understand. But again, man, y'all have made this so fun, bro. You've seen Twitter. Twitter's been Philly has. I want to let y'all know something too. Like, real talk. Analysts that I have listened to have said this is one of the most toxic years that they've ever seen in the MVP discourse on Twitter, and many of them have referenced Philadelphia in particular in the response to all the Jokic stuff. But I do understand it's been a lot. Got a lot of Jokic fans saying a lot of disrespectful stuff, trolling people. 1,000%, man. I try, and you can let the people know, I try to be as positive about Embiid as possible. I respect all the content creators. One of my most popular posts of the last month has been Embiid. I absolutely think in other years he'd be a unanimous MVP. So I want to give shout out, man. What he did, averaging 31 and 11 and 4 is big time. Not a lot of players in NBA history have ever done that. He shot 49% from the field. That's the best he's ever done. I can make a legit Joel Embiid MVP argument right now that I think clears most conversations. So y'all my people, man.
Exactly.
I could 1,000%.
The point that's the point. That's my main point in this whole thing. Anybody that really knows ball could make an argument for all three of Jokic, Embiid, or Giannis.
Right.
So explain to me then how Jokic wins 2 in a row with how? What did he do differently than last year? I mean, I know you got all the numbers. I'll let you calculate it. You got all the advanced numbers. What did he do differently than last year? Because to win 2 in a row, in the words of Kevin Durant, you got to do something more than the year before.
Well, to go down the list, averaging 27.1, 13.8, and 7.9. Never been done before in NBA history. He shot 58% from the field. Literally, at that volume, has almost never been done by a volume shooter who scores outside the paint. Again, this is not an advanced stat. Joel Embiid shot 61% true shooting, averaging 31 a game. That's like to put that in context, like there's very few players on that volume to ever score that well. Like, that's like all time. Jokic shot 27 points a game on 66% true shooting. Like, it's Steph Curry and it's Charles Barkley. Like, that's the only players that have ever done 65% or more on that kind of volume. So, like, again, like, we're talking about a historically great play. Again, he has 2,000, 1,500, but also had 100 steals this year as well. Like, he has been, by far, this has been one of the best offensive NBA seasons ever. It depends on who you're talking to. This is the best offensive big season ever. Again, people don't really understand how playmaking works. Playmaking, again, I know people hear playmaking, they're like passing and all that. Like, playmaking is your ability to control offensive play. Like, the way he has orchestrated this offense with Aaron, Austin, Monte, Will, everybody else on the court has been historic. He doesn't have another volume score, and yet he's still shooting a 66% shooting and 58% from the field. But here's the other thing, my bro.
Right.
He's shooting 53% from the mid-range. Like, everywhere on the court, he has been overly exceptional. He's shooting 62% from that 3 to 10 range, from floaters and all those other things. Like, he has been transcendent this year. So I think when KD makes those arguments, in his mind, going from 26.3 and 11 and 8.3 to 27, 14, and 8 on that efficiency, in his mind, it doesn't sound great. But here's the thing. Kevin Durant's best shooting year was last year, but he only played 32 games. Last year, he played 32 games, and he had a 66.1% true shooting, 66.6% true shooting, best of his career. Jokic had a 66 this season, and he averaged over 25 points a game. He's the only one in that category. So, and defensively, I don't know. Again, I put up some stuff on Twitter. I know people, they feel whatever type of way about some of these articles. People go by the eye test and say, well, it doesn't look like he's playing elite defense. He has been excellent on defense. He's been their most consistent player on defense this season as well. So anyway, I could just say, man, I think that there's a lot to it. I don't want to go on too much because I've done that enough. I know that people are tired of hearing me. I started in
they love to hear it.
No, I started in November, and here we go. I started in November, told y'all he was going to win MVP, said it in December, said it in January, February, March, April.
Just for the people that don't know exactly, a lot of the argument is true shooting percentage. So what exactly is true shooting percentage versus just shooting percentage?
Yeah, so your field goal percentage is simple math on the court. All your true shooting is, it takes in your free throws and your shot, every shot that you shoot on the court. And what it says is like, this is the percentage of shots that you are making relative to what you're shooting on the court. And so to have a volume score like Steph Curry, everybody remembers that 2015-16 season. Steph Curry had a true shooting percentage of 67%, and he made 410 threes that season. Again, or 402. I think it was 402. Like, what he did offensively as a shooter that year was just it was unparadox. Like, it didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense. Like, he was so freaking good, and he was shooting so many three-pointers. He was shooting like 12 a game or something like that. So when you have a true shooting that's that high, like, that means the effectiveness of your shot as well as the potency of the offensive shooting you're putting forth is measured by these certain amounts. And so, like I said, people compare to Russell Westbrook's season. He averaged like 31, like 11 and 10 or whatever else it was. But Russell Westbrook had a true shooting that was in the 50s. It was like 57%. And that's decent, but that's not great. That's one of the reasons people were so down on Luka this season, because his shooting is about 57. So all it is your overall shot profile mixed with the efficiency on the shots that you take. Embiid has a very high one considering how many mid-range shots he takes. So again, I can get on here right now. If you want me to do, you can sit back. I can make an argument for Joel Embiid for MVP. Easy. I did it on Twitter Spaces the other day and went off. So, like, I ain't got no issue with it. I can make an argument for everybody.
The people that don't really listen to you think that you hate Joel Embiid just because they just assume because you argue for Jokic so hard that you hate Joel Embiid. You're just a fan of the game. You respect all of the talents. You just biasly think that Jokic is better than everyone.
I don't know if it's biased. I think it's just on
the same way we biasly think that Joel Embiid's better than everyone. I mean, that's the thing. People get so mad about it, but does anybody really expect a Denver Nuggets fan to be like, yeah, Joel Embiid's better than everyone? And that's not going to happen. Does anybody expect a Sixers fan to come out and be like, yeah, Nikola Jokic is better than everyone? To me, it's just like, that's what's going to happen because we watch this team every night. You watch that team every night. And also, MVP trophy at this point. It's like, what is the parade down Broad Street for the MVP trophy? What is that?
Parade?
Once I saw who's actually in charge of voting, what are we really doing here?
Well, what's the complaint about? The same people who voted for this MVP voted Allen Iverson as the MVP. They voted Daryl Dawkins as the MVP. They've been voting with the media since the 70s. So, like, nothing's changed. It's always been the media since literally 50 years.
A lot of things have changed in the media, like agendas, like storylines, like certain people working for certain people.
So a pro Denver market agenda who never had an MVP ever in our history.
Seems that way.
I don't understand. We're not even a top top 10 marketable city in the NBA. That's what I don't understand. Like the voting criteria, listen,
I'm going to
the
explain
voting criteria
more.
rightly changed. It rightly changed because it used to be you just had to be the best player on the best team. Bro, that's stupid. That means it'll be Jimmy Butler or Devin Booker. And he hasn't touched what Embiid has done this year. That wouldn't be fair.
Listen, it's not that the NBA, I would never argue that the NBA likes Jokic more than other players. I will argue that the NBA dislikes Joel Embiid more than other players for several reasons. Number one, if you give Joel Embiid the MVP, that verifies that tanking works. That tanking, losing on purpose for 3 seasons gets you an MVP level player. The NBA literally stepped in and replaced Sam Hinkie because of what was happening to the market. Other owners were complaining that we're losing money when we go play in Philly. They were that bad, right? Nobody cares that Sam Presti's doing it for 10 straight years over in OKC. Nobody seems to care about that. But in Philly, it wasn't okay. They came in, changed, and made us change GM. Here's Colangelo's dad and, all that stuff that happened. So the NBA doesn't want it. The NBA also doesn't like the fact that Joel Embiid is so good at scoring under the basket that he gets fouled more than any player in the league, and they don't want a game full of free throws.
Okay, so Michael Wilbon voted Embiid for MVP. Stephen A. Smith voted Embiid MVP. Kendrick Perkins voted Embiid MVP. Ramona Shelburne Embiid for MVP. There's several people that work for these networks that you so-called hate that voted largely for Embiid. Right now, the only person I know for a fact that works for ESPN, Jalen Rose and Mike Greenberg gave Jokic an MVP vote from ESPN. Everybody else so far that I've named all voted Embiid. Fox Sports all voted Embiid. So that's what I'm saying. Even the major market people that are covering the sport, they voted Embiid. Chris Broussard voted Giannis. And then he put Embiid 2, and then he put Jokic 3. So even then, Jokic isn't getting love in those markets. Nick Wright hates him. Nick Wright he said it should be, he has Embiid in front of him. He has Giannis and Luka, but he doesn't have a vote altogether. Rick Boucher voted for Joel Embiid as well. So that's what I mean. Like, all the major media markets are voting for Embiid. So, that's what I don't understand. It's not like as if they were all voting Jokic, it'd be one thing. But none of them are, except for Jalen and for Greenberg. So that's what I'm saying. It's not like there's a bias with Jokic at ESPN. They don't want to show Denver games. They don't care about us.
So where did all the Jokic votes come from?
So a lot of them are local writers who actually watch the basketball games as opposed to the people who just cover the sport for Fox and ESPN. Yeah, so if you just look at the list so far, I can pull it up for you as well because I know you all have probably been tracking that really hard because I know you want to hear all that information about
I'm just saying,
who's winning
if it's going
MVP.
to be media voting, we need to start making sure it's even media voting. We need to start making sure the votes come from all over the place and not, I don't know. I'm just guessing. Midwest and the West.
So they are coming from all over. They come from every market. Every market in the NBA, they had at least 1 or 2 voters. So right now, just so you know,
the
Jokic has 28.
Report. Are they it starts. That's the thing you were trying to tell me, that nothing's different from the 70s. We have media companies that were started on the internet in people's basements for the Bleacher Reports, the whatever you want to call it, House of Highlights. Not that they were voting, but I'm just throwing out a company that started. Anybody can make a company. Anybody now. So in the long term, anybody can vote for MVP. If your media company that you started gets big enough, you can vote for MVP.
You have to get the NBA has
unbiasedness.
They have to extend the invitation to you. And so a part of this is doing your due diligence. Like Maria Taylor, I love Maria Taylor, but a couple of years ago, she messed up an all-NBA vote and left somebody off on accident and got flamed for it. And she said that she made a mistake and she forgot about somebody and came back. But I think she lost her vote after that as well. So this has happened. Again, man, I'm not going to pretend like Bill, for instance, doesn't have an anti-Philly thing. He probably does. He's a Celtic market dude. So 1,000% makes sense. Again, fully understand that, but I also can tell you, bro, it's not like folks are just getting up and just watching Denver. We've never had an MVP candidate like this in our history. Alex English led the 80s in scoring, my brother, and did not make the NBA 75 or 50. He's the only player to lead a decade in scoring and not be a top 50 or top 75 player ever. So we have never had a player get recognized like Jokic is. So that's what I'm telling you. I can only speak from experience, bro. We ain't had it like that. We ain't been connected like that. We ain't had to plug like that. So this is all new for everything we're going through in the city, man.
Listen, at the end of the day, I'm not a Jokic hater at all. I say all the time he's a phenomenal
I
player.
believe
What he does from the center position is out of this world. It is. I just look at it like you could give LeBron James 7. They could have given LeBron 7 MVPs in a row if they wanted to. They never do that because the second year, third year, they just, you know what I mean? So I just think I'm not seeing exactly. I guess he had a historic year. You keep telling me that. I'm not. You know.
Well, here's the thing. If we're being honest,
all I know, I just know one. I just know one of these players led the league in scoring. One of these players is the first center to lead the league in scoring since Shaq in '99. One of these players is the first center to average 30 points a game since Moses Malone in 1982. One of these players had the first healthy season of his career. It was always on him. He's hurt. He's not going to win it because he only plays 60 games. He overcame everything they told him he had to overcome to win MVP and did it even more so. So I'm just saying, if you're looking at it evenly, that guy deserves it more than the guy deserves 2 in a row.
No, because that'd be a pity MVP, and you don't want that either. Like you don't want him to get it because he didn't win it the year before.
I think he deserves it for what he did. Not because he didn't get it the year before. I think he deserves it for what he did this season.
3 players all played exceptional. One player played better than everyone else if you want to look at the stats, you would look at the metrics, you want to look at what he did to win the 48 games. Somebody won 51 games. He was available more still. So like he scored 73 less points than Embiid on 100 less shots. He made 50 more. He made 100 more field goals, 100 more points on the season. Or wait, what was it? 50 less points, something like that. He made 50. He made 100 more field goals. Sorry, he made 100 more field goals on 50 less shots, and then he also had. Yeah, but that's availability. He's more available. He's always been more available. That's part of the story.
If you're going to compare numbers, you got to add that in there. He played 200.
So Embiid shot more, and still Jokic made more shots. Is what I'm telling you. So when I talk about the efficiency part, that's Jokic. Like Jokic became a 2-point maestro. He shot 65% from 2 this season. Like Shaq never did that. Like Shaquille O'Neal himself never did that. So that's what I'm saying. Like when we're talking about like scoring.
I don't want to cut you off. I just love the
Go
chat.
ahead.
The chat is like, it's just like I said earlier, the chat is so clear. Denver fans, I'm an idiot. Sixers fans, you're an idiot. Like it's just so funny to me.
But they don't know like, and that's the thing. I wish the chat got it. Like you, Greg Melly, all the other Sixers content creators, y'all are great folks, man. Like I love talking with y'all. Obviously you more than them because I know you better. Like, yeah, man, like there ain't no beef. Like I understand. Like, I fully understand why y'all ride so hard for Embiid. I hope y'all build a statue of him and tear down that statue of Rocky so you have a real player up there for once. Like, I'm telling you, man. Like, I vouch with you. I get it, bro. But I'm just telling you, man. Like, I feel like this is the honest truth, bro. You know, I watched enough of basketball to be able to give you an objective analysis about all 3 players. I think all 3 players were spectacular. They were. Had any one of them won the MVP, they would have been deserving of the MVP. It was that clear. It also, I think the factors at hand lended themselves to people looking at what Jokic was doing, top 10 in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and field goal percentage this year. We haven't seen that in 50-plus years since Wilt. And when you look at what he did to get that team to 48 wins while being more available than Giannis and Embiid, playing more minutes than Giannis and Embiid, and then having no other player on his roster, let's say, be as good as maybe Tyrese or Harden, whoever you want. Again, I'm not. Embiid doesn't get discredited for having good teammates. He also helped make them better. But again, Jokic floor rating, what his squad did, and again, I think people have to, if you don't watch Jokic, like you don't realize, like when we say playmaking, he's the one that sets the entire offense and tells people where they need to be on a play-by-play basis, and they have still a top 7 offense without elite talent around him. But that's because of him. They're winning at a 62 win pace when he plays, and when he's off the court, they're winning at a 17 win pace. That's a 45 win difference. When Embiid, it was a 28 win difference, and with Giannis, it's a 24 win difference. So I'm telling you, man, he just had to. I know people want to compare Ben Simmons, and I put that poll out the other day because I wanted to know, like, rank Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., and Ben Simmons, and you yourself said Jamal and MPJ are better players than Ben Simmons. And my whole thing is like. Well, then what I'm saying is like for him to win 48 games without both of those players, that was a huge accomplishment, like it was for Embiid to be able to win that many games without Ben Simmons. But still, even if Ben Simmons is one person, you're still missing Jamal and MPJ, and you think they're better. So how much better is their record? Do they win 60 games? Do they win 58 games if they have both of them in the roster? We don't know because, like I'm saying, he didn't have the talent to be able to do that. Like right now, bro, if you look online, you look on the analysts, they're all saying that they're about to get knocked out of the rounds early by the Warriors because they don't have the power to get it done. They don't have players around Jokic. Their whole thing is like it's Jokic and it's everybody else. That's why they're going to get beat. I think they have a chance to win the series. I also know that Golden State has a much better squad than they do. So we'll see.
That's the first round, Golden State, Denver. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying, bro. How you not know that? I know what's going on with y'all. I'm looking at y'all on the East Coast.
I didn't look who's playing the first round in the Western Conference. I don't know.
Right.
It's gonna be Golden State in 4, unfortunately for you.
Look, I don't think it's gonna be 4. I think there's a chance for the Nuggets to win. But yeah, man, we'll have to see.
All right, so let's get into outside of the MVP talk because we've gone over it before.
Can we just admit that we are in the Jokic era, and I was right when I said that?
The Jokic era. No, we have not seen a center like Joel Embiid since maybe possibly Wilt Chamberlain. We are in the Joel Embiid era of the NBA.
Yeah. Well, there's also
the advanced calculators don't want to tell you that. That's all.
I haven't brought up advanced stats. I brought up the counting stats just for you.
Anyway, the best center since Moses Malone statistically.
I think Joel Embiid is the best center in the NBA. We can both agree with that. But I've already told you Nikola Jokic is the best player in the NBA. We've already had this discussion.
All right, let's move on because I know you watch a lot of NBA, so I want to get your opinion on a couple of different topics. Joel's the better player. Joel's a better center. Jokic is a better player, but they're in the
1,000%
same position.
Jokic can play. He can play point guard. He can play forward. Whatever you want him to play. That's the point.
Rasan G, what's up, man? I respect Swipa, but this is basketball, not chemistry class. You're heavy into analytics, not eye test. Embiid is the most dominant big since Shaq and one of his kind. Jokic is Dirk Nowitzki with passing.
I haven't brought up one analytic fact. I haven't brought up any analytics, so I don't understand where this is coming from. I haven't brought up a single analytic, not one, which also favored Joel Embiid very highly. He's either 2 or 3 on all those rankings, but whatever. I haven't said
right,
it.
So if you say so, there are two different types of players. That's where I always go with it. If you prefer a dominant center who's going to bang in the paint, who's going to take on double teams, triple teams, who's going to do all the physical work down there, you choose Embiid. If you like more of the facilitating side like a Jokic, you would choose that way. I think that's a wash offensively. I think it's not. It's a preference offensively.
But
yes, it clearly is.
I told you Joel Embiid is the Kobe Bryant of centers. I said that. Now everybody's running with it. I said that to you months ago. Now everybody's running with it.
One passes the ball more and is better at it, and one's a better scorer. One of them led the NBA in scoring.
No, that's not how that works, bro. I'm trying to tell you, man. Offense is not just scoring and passing.
Jokic is a better scorer than Embiid.
No, I think this is the thing. If we're having an actual nuanced conversation about scoring, they are on the same tier as scorers because at some point you're going to have to factor in the fact that Jokic is shooting almost 10% better than Embiid. That has to matter for something. That's what I'm telling you. Like Jokic since March 1st,
passing the ball more and selecting his shots better. He's being more selective with his shots.
No, it's not selective. So think about this. Since March 1st, Jokic is averaging 32, 13, and 7. Embiid is averaging 32, 13, and 4. So since Jokic decided that he needed to score more for this team to win, they're scoring the same amount of points. Jokic is shooting 63% at the same point in time as Embiid is shooting 50. That's what I'm telling you, bro. Like if he wants to do it, he can do it.
In my personal opinion, pick one offensively. You can pick either one offensively. You're only picking one defensively, and everybody knows that.
Do you understand?
The Philadelphia 76ers are 7th in the NBA defensively when Joel Embiid's on the floor, and they're 27th in the NBA defensively when he's off the floor.
Yeah, you have the ghost of DeAndre Jordan playing behind Joel Embiid.
Literally, all of the games that they've lost was pretty much because of the end of the third quarter when Embiid sits on the bench.
So, but here's my question for you. So, do you think the only thing that separates them is Jokic passing?
No, I think the thing that really separates them is their defensive ability, their defensive value on their team.
Okay.
That's it.
I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, I think this is just a part of the larger conversation about what exactly qualifies as offensive dominance beyond just box score scoring. Because Embiid, again, saying that Jokic is just a moderately better offensive player or the same tier offensively, it doesn't take into account that literally, like when you are a playmaker and you're an elite scorer, he controls every single thing on the offense. He's James Harden and Embiid in one player. That's the difference. So, like, that's just not like a smidge difference when it comes to offensive value. And then defensively, he's been a great defender all year. All the metrics love him. And again, my bro, he's top 10 in steals. At what point does that matter? Like, at what point does him being top 10 in steals actually matter? And he leads all centers in deflections as well. And, like, him and Embiid have the same contest percentage this season. And he has way more contested than Embiid does this season. That's what I'm saying. At some point, that stuff has to matter, my friend. That's all I'm saying.
At the end of the day, none of this matters because look at it this way. If Joel Embiid played for the Denver Nuggets and Nikola Jokic played for the 76ers, we would have separate opinions the opposite way around.
I would like to think I would still be able to make – well, or is Jokic – is he doing what he's doing here inside of Philly?
What do you mean?
That's what I would say. I would say that I'm watching Kobe Bryant play if I was an Embiid fan. That's what it feels like, which is what I told you already. I'm watching Kobe Bryant play basketball as a big.
Yeah. Joel Embiid?
Yes, 1,000%. I have not seen a center who has the offensive gravity as a scorer he does to literally every
Kobe
possession.
And Shaq combined, really?
No, I don't think he's not as like Shaq was a menacing, like his physical. He was even more physical than Embiid is. That's the thing. Like Embiid is a great physical specimen.
He was
and he was just like he was a mover. He moved everyone. Embiid is just he's smart. Like he's a technician. Like when Embiid gets the ball at the top of the key, the way he's able to face up. But like I said, when you watch him play, again, there's somebody not watching them every game. But when I watch Embiid play, when Embiid is on the court and when he doesn't have the ball, the entire the defense is worried about where he is on the court and what he's about to do. As soon as he has the ball, everybody takes a step into the paint, and now they're trying to figure out, okay, are we going to give the midi up? Yes. Are we going to give the three-point up? Yes, because we're not letting him get inside. So that, like, Embiid has had an offensive gravity I have not seen another big have. Like I said, since Hakeem, since Shaq, but even the Shaq, he's a better shooter than Shaq was too.
See, this is exactly why I choose to not read the chat in all of these live streams that I do. Would Philly win without Embiid? Are you serious?
What do you think the record would?
Who's carrying? Who's carrying, bro? James Harden and Tobias Harris? They can't beat the Pistons. They can't beat anybody. This team is not good without Embiid. So
you don't think they're good even with James Harden in the lineup?
No, he can't do anything. Have you seen him play lately?
Yeah, his efficiency is terrible. He's shooting terrible.
His entire game, his whole career was beating people off the dribble. He can't beat anybody off the dribble. He wouldn't. He can't. I mean, he wouldn't take Tyler Hero off the dribble. He can't beat anybody right now.
That's a part of the next conversation. Are you paying him 4 years, $233 million?
No, not at all. Not even close.
Whoa! So what are you going to do?
Well, he has a player option, right? And the thing is that his basketball IQ and his passing ability is great, and if he can get his 3-point shot back a little bit, that changes what he looks like right now. But without that, it's the past couple of games have been getting to the point where the defense is starting to go under screens. Like that's getting bad. When you're trying to run a pick and roll, and the defense is going under the screen because they don't care if you shoot, and you're James Harden, you made second most all-time three-pointers made in history, whatever. Third. He's up there, third. Like now it's getting, but now it's looking like we traded Ben Simmons for somebody that also won't, and he's passing up open shots too.
So
passing them up.
This is a question that we're gonna have to ask today and answer today as well, because last year it was Ben's fault, and then it's been Doc's fault, and then if y'all don't win versus Toronto this year, it's gonna be Harden's fault. At what point do you feel like at any point in time with the playoff failures that have happened with the 76ers, do you start to say that Embiid might have been a part of the issue as well? If they do lose versus the Raptors, would you feel that way?
Would I feel like Embiid is part of the issue?
Yeah.
How could I feel that way? Absolutely not. How could I feel that way?
So you're saying if you have, I don't know, because you made it to the second round 3 years ago, and then you made it You got first round swept. Was it 4 years ago?
Yeah.
And then you lost to Trae Young last year, and then this year if you don't beat the Raptors. So you're saying that there's always what it sounds like sometimes that there's always someone else to point at instead of Embiid. I'm not saying it'll be Embiid's fault, but I'm saying that you as a Philadelphia 76ers watcher, would you then start to look at Embiid and saying that there's some things that need to change with his game?
No, there's always something that has to change with the construction of the team, because he's a player that it's quite obvious when there's an easy double and triple team, he's going to have a lot of turnovers. He's going to get shut down in the paint. And like, you can go back to the Toronto Raptors game where he scored 1 point in that playoff game, or he had a 0-point game in the regular season, or the other way around. Marc Gasol, first of all, Raptors fans were here for a week, and they swear that I reminded them last night they don't have Marc Gasol anymore. So, but anyway, Marc Gasol was a great defender. Ben Simmons, a point guard that won't shoot. Nobody has to guard him. The doubles and triples came so easy, and there's been rarely ever a combo perimeter player on this basketball team. There's rarely been a player that Joel Embiid can kick it to, who can jab, step, and drive past somebody, who can do basic basketball moves to score. He always has these one-dimensional catch-and-shoot guys, the Tobias Harris, Danny Green, the whoever else. Tyrese Maxey's the first time I've seen it on his team. And now it's supposed to be James Harden, but he's not looking too hot recently. No, all of these other rosters, these teams have 3, 4, 5 combo guards that all over the floor.
So,
if Joel gets easy double and triple teams, he's not going to win the championship. But it can't be his fault. He's the only reason they're there.
Do you understand then why teams don't double or triple Jokic? Does that help paint the picture? Well, yeah, but it's not just passing. Like, you know what I mean? It's not just passing. That's what I mean. Like, when a double steps to him, he steps away from the double, and then he creates a lane across the court to the corner, to the wing, to the key, or in the slasher in the dunker spots. The reason teams don't double, because the Nuggets score more points per possession when they double Jokic as opposed to when they let him single. Because he's going to cook you. He's the most efficient post scorer in the NBA, and then he's the best passer out of it. So that's what I mean. Like, when I say offense and playmaking and all that, that's what I mean. Like, his scoring makes him a threat.
Up in the last 2 years is one person, Joel Embiid.
2 years? No, last year it was Jokic. This year it's also Jokic. Jokic averages more points for. No, Embiid averages the most points in terms of post-up points a game. Post-up points a game. Jokic averages the most points for post-up, like per possession post-up in the NBA.
Anyway, I would never argue that Joel Embiid's a better playmaker than Jokic. Of course, you don't want to double Jokic. He's gonna read the whole floor. He plays like a.
So this is what I'm saying. Like, I think Embiid. This is why I know we talked about this with the James Harden trade and all that. I think there's a play, and again, man, I hope it works out. I really do, because again, I think it's unfair. Embiid had to deal with that nonsense 4 years ago with Ben and all that stuff, and then he had to deal with the fact that Kawhi Leonard made one of the luckiest shots ever in NBA history, one of the best clutch shots in NBA history. And then last year he had to deal with Trae Young and John Collins and then the Ben Simmons situation and all that. And this year it looks like there might be there might be an opportunity where James Harden doesn't show up like he's supposed to. So that's what I mean. It's just like it's not like a perfect situation. And so I'm just, at some point, I do think it's going to have to be like, all right, what exactly does Embiid need to be successful? Because if it's not James Harden and he's a top 15 player or something like that, you know what I mean? Like, he's a top 15 player, top 12 player at least still. Like, what else do you think he needs in order to be successful?
He needs his legs back. He has looked injured the last, I don't know.
Doc said he's healthy.
Doc said he's healthy, and Doc Rivers is a liar. And Doc Rivers is a bold-faced liar. And Doc Rivers is hated in this city by basically everybody at this point. Which, there he is right there. Glenn Rivers in the chat. Thanks for supporting the channel, Doc. He says, I'll debate this guy. Denver runs a different offense. It's all coaching, also competition. Denver's running the Kings 2003 offense.
Denver runs the Jokic offense. So that he built the offense with Michael Malone. So I think that, look here, man, I hope it works out. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro.
Yeah, that's nice. Imagine that. Imagine having an offense that actually makes sense for the player on the team.
What would be your ideal?
We went from Brett Brown, who was like, here, give Joel the ball and figure it out, to Doc Rivers, who has a bigger name and said, here, give Joel the ball and figure it out. The same thing is happening. It actually looks worse sometimes than it did under Brett Brown. This guy doesn't do anything. And then he comes into press conferences after a game and talks about the team as if he was in the fourth row as a spectator. He'll be like, yeah, there wasn't a lot of action in the second half, not a lot of ball movement. We weren't really moving around a lot. We were like, what? You're the coach. You're standing right there. Doc Rivers is horrible. Why do you think the Lakers are interested in Doc Rivers? Because I can't figure that one out. Unless they just don't know how terrible he is and only we do.
Now, let me say, Doc Rivers is not
as someone that doesn't watch Sixers games every day or every night, do you think Doc Rivers is terrible, yes or no?
Doc Rivers is still
atrocious.
Doc Rivers is still a top 10 coach in the NBA. I'm sad to say he is. But the reason is his ability, what he struggles at. Here's what he does well, here's what he doesn't do well. He's a terrible execution coach at the end of the game. You can't even hear me. He's a terrible execution coach at the end of the game. If you look up the data in terms of drawing up possessions and points per possession, out of timeouts and stuff, Doc Rivers has been at the top of the league in the NBA for the last couple of seasons. So I'm telling you, bro, he is bad when it comes to adjusting his lineups. He's bad when it comes to clutch coaching.
What's he good?
But again, you have to understand, I think that Eric Spoelstra, Michael Malone, Coach Pop, Taylor Jenkins, Monty Williams, I don't know who else would you put in front of Doc? I'm saying there's only so many great coaches. That's what I'm saying. There's only so many of them.
What makes Doc Rivers a great coach?
I don't think he's great in every spot, and I think he's terrible when it comes to post games and he talks about players. Trust me, I'm not saying he's perfect at all. What I am saying is that he does some things well, but with things he's really bad at, he's very bad at. He doesn't make adjustments because, again, it could be pride or whatever else it is. He does a terrible job adjusting when the time comes. He does. He does a terrible job adjusting when the time comes.
Doc Rivers does not draw up plays. When there's an end-of-game situation and he needs to draw up a play out of a timeout, which, first of all, usually he never even calls the timeout. He just lets it go. Okay, go. If he calls a timeout, we're like, oh, this is going to be terrible. And he inbounds it to Embiid outside the three-point line or something. There's no screens happening. There's nothing going on. I can't find a single thing Doc Rivers does well. And
you don't think he does anything well?
No, and if he didn't have the 4 Hall of Famers on that Celtics team, who only won 1 championship, by the way, if he's a top 10 coach and he had 4 Hall of Famers, how'd you not squeeze 2 out of that somehow, some way? No, he's been riding that 2008 championship forever, and it blows my mind. But we fell for it. The Clippers fired him. All the players said, all the LA Clippers players came out and said all the things they said about him, which were accurate at the time. We Sixers fans didn't know this. We see the guy for a year, and we're like, damn, they were right about everything. Paul George was right. Everybody was right. Then the whole year, he's babying Ben Simmons and all this nonsense. He hates he argues with the media. He's the most condescending person in a press conference I've ever seen.
I have definitely seen.
He thinks he is the smartest person on the planet. He thinks.
Would you ask Coach Popovich that question? I remember.
Outside of that 2008 championship, I can't see how this guy is still regarded as a historic NBA coach, besides the fact that he's been around forever.
Top 15 coach of all time.
And he said at the end of the last press conference, I've been around a long time. That was his final thing that he said to Derek Bodner, who asked him the question that pissed him off. I've been around a long time. Yeah, we know you've been around a long time. That doesn't mean you're good at what you do.
So
did you hear the B-ball Paul rant that he went on?
No, what did you say?
All right, so the Sixers' backup center position has been horrible the entire season.
Oh yeah, I heard it.
The fan base clamors for B-ball Paul, who was a G League MVP, who's an energy guy, is going to out-rebound pretty much everybody on the floor. He's 6'9".
That's Paul Reed, right?
Paul Reed, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a 6'9" athlete. He can rebound. He can catch lobs. He can do everything you need him to do at the backup center position. He had a 25-point game at the end of the season, last game of the season. And Derek Bodner asked him, with the recent success of Paul Reed the last 2 or 3 games, do you maybe regret not playing him earlier in the season? And Doc Rivers said, listen, we're not going to go on a Paul Reed victory tour right now.
I saw.
He was angry at the player that he doesn't want to play for being successful for 3 games. The guy's out of his mind. No, there's no reason to want Doc Rivers. But if the Lakers don't know that and they want the guy, please Please take it.
So what do you do? What's your transition to the next coach? Who is it?
Sam Cassell, easily.
You think so? You step up? Okay, within in-hire. Okay.
Every single practice you watch of this team, it's Sam Cassell. He's the guy on the floor working with all the players. He's the guy that the players reference a lot of times. He's just much more connected with everybody on the team. It's almost like Doc Rivers is on the outside, just being this like overshadowing bigger name, but really like
Right.
who's really coaching.
So I said, I hope it works out with the James Harden thing. We can talk about the Toronto series if you want now as well, but I have not heard you sound too confident about that series. Are you still feeling the same way?
I think the Sixers win in 6 because of just pure elite NBA talent versus what Toronto has at this stage of the careers of some of those players. Now, they have more athletes. They're younger. They are good at all the things that we're bad at. Everything that we are bad at, they are good at. Transition points. We're one of the worst transition defenses in the league. They're one of the best points in transition teams in the league. We're one of the worst rebounding teams in the league. They're one of the best rebounding teams in the league. We are the worst offensive rebounding team in the league. They are the second best offensive rebounding team in the league. They're just a bunch of young athletes who are going to out-hustle you. But over the course, they don't have an answer for Joel Embiid at all.
Who's y'all's answer for Fred VanVleet? I think he averaged 32 points a game in the season versus y'all, and then Pascal Siakam.
I think it was only 2 games he played us.
Yeah, it was. It did. I think Fred was there for 3 of them. I want to say, not Fred, Pascal.
And Pascal, the last game he put up a 37-point triple-double, which was huge. His shooting percentages were off the charts, way better than he shoots on an everyday basis. So I don't really expect him to shoot like he was shooting in that game. Plus,
you think he'll be the second best player in the series?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because we don't like a large part of those performances was guys like George Niang trying to guard him one-on-one, which all, again, goes back to Doc Rivers, because when he sees a player get torched like that, he makes no adjustments at all. You know, he put Paul Millsap on Giannis Antetokounmpo for 8 straight minutes, and Giannis scored 17 points in a row by himself. He didn't make a single. Like, what are we doing here? And he did the same thing with George Niang on Pascal Siakam. So it's all about that third quarter backup center. Does he match up the substitutions, or does he throw George Niang out there when Pascal Siakam is on the floor? You know.
So I guess the thing with the Raptors, if they're fully loaded, they're going to have VanVleet, they're going to have Gary Trent, they're going to have Pascal, OG Anunoby, and Precious Achiuwa. All of them can shoot. All of them are rangy, and they play hard as crap. And they're going to have Chris Boucher. Then they're going to have they've loaded. I mean, their whole bench is Denton, Blanton coming off the bench. I mean, they got some pieces, man. So, like, my only concern is that they're going to make a life a living heck for Joel Embiid. They're going to make him a mover on defense, because Precious Achiuwa is going to be hanging around the 3-point line, or Pascal, or whoever. Pascal's going to take him off the dribble. He's going to try and wear him out. I mean, we saw that last game as well. Precious. The thing is, if Precious and Gary Trent have good series, the Raptors win, because I think Precious and Gary can, if they outshoot like Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris, that's going to be problematic, because now you're asking James and Joe to have to overdo what Pascal and VanVleet are doing, and then their other players are stepping up. Go ahead.
Neither of those guys are consistent like that. You know, the third game we played Toronto, Gary Trent Jr. was a ghost. And then the fourth game, he shows up like he's, a 6th man of the year. I don't think either of those players are that consistent.
Right.
Achiuwa was on such a roll. He pulled a heat check in the third quarter, 5 feet behind the 3-point line, looking like Kevin Durant.
Pulled up.
What is happening here? No, I think they have a lot of players that are going to be great. I just don't think they're there right now.
My issue with that team right now, I don't like that Joel Embiid has to go for I'm talking about, this is minimal for them to win or to be in the game. He has to score 34 and 12. Like, that's like minimal for them to be in the game. I hate that. I hate that though, because it's so unsustainable. The reason no one's ever done that for an entire year outside of like Will and a couple other people, because it's impossible. There's so much energy to burn, and then you're asking him to anchor your defense defensively. That's crazy.
For a whole season, yeah. But he can do it, and he can do it for 6 games. Definitely.
So then he has to do it for 6 games, and then Yar 4 or 5. So that means you would play against either the Heat. Yeah, it would be the Heat the next round.
Yeah.
Yeah, then it would be the Heat, and then obviously Bam and Jimmy and all. Like, you got to go through Toronto and then the Miami Heat with all that. That's a lot, bro. That's a lot.
I don't ever argue that. I don't think that this Sixers team is winning a championship this year. I think they have too many things that they need to fix.
Why? I thought that's what it was. I thought when he made the James Harden trade, we seemed so confident. That was Shaq and Kobe, and they were going there.
I mean, we still knew they were top heavy, but we thought we were getting 25 points a game, James Harden, and we're getting 12 right now. 15 and 15 on a good night. If James Harden gives us 20 and 10 in a Toronto series, I think you get what you get from Joel Embiid. You already know what you're going to get from him. You get
right.
I think if James gives us 20 and 10, we win the series. But then you go to Miami, and Miami has a lot of the same kryptonite that Toronto has for us. More athletic, better defensive team, better coached, all of the things. I wouldn't guarantee a 7-game win over Miami for the Sixers. Greg Melly last night, he thinks Miami. Some Sixers people think Miami's frauds, but I just think that they have a lot of things that can kill us. And what did we lose the last game to them by? Like 30 points.
Right. Yeah, and I think that Miami, and then obviously then you have to go face the Bucks, and now they got Brook Lopez back. So I mean, the East is a juggernaut. I hope James Harden shows up in the first round, bro. I really do, man. Because I don't want to see y'all out here, sad and whatever, and doom and gloom. And then
I mean, I'm always realistic about my team. I'm not one of these, my team's going to win every year. I really look at it like, does it make sense? Do I think that? I think realistically, this Sixers team, Joel averages a ridiculous number in the playoffs, and they fall short probably in the second round, probably because of the lack of bench depth, the lack of rebounding outside of Joel Embiid, literally any player on the roster, and Doc Rivers just loving DeAndre Jordan and Paul Millsap, and his just inability to develop young players or give young players a chance at all. I mean, players like Bones Highland or anybody else, like Terrence Mann in LA wasn't sniffing the court when Doc Rivers was there. These young players that show up and come out of nowhere on other NBA teams are non-existent in a Doc Rivers led. He just won't do it. He won't do it. You can be the G League MVP. He won't give you a second on the court until the entire the entire arena is chanting Paul Reed's name in the first quarter or the second quarter of a game when they put Millsap back in the game. Like, first of all, that's how much Philly fans pay attention to what's going on. You know what I mean? They care about who the backup center is because they know that's when we lose games. And it's getting bad right now. If DeAndre Jordan checks into the game before Paul Reed, there's going to be boos in the arena. I'm serious.
But he said that when they play big, we're going DJ. When they go small, we're going Paul Reed. Well, Toronto plays small. I mean, Chris Boucher is not he's tall, but he's not like a thick dude. So Paul Reed should play. He should play in that series.
Right, but the way that he said it, he was like, if you've been watching, what we've done is we play Paul against smaller teams. We play DJ against bigger teams. And Derek Bodner was like, well, up until the last 3 games, that's not the case. That's literally not true. You didn't play Paul Reed for 3 months. You didn't play him the whole season. How are you going to sit here and tell me you play Paul Reed against smaller teams? For the last 3 games you did, because somebody in that organization pressured you. Somebody said, listen, Doc, this ain't working out. Put Paul Reed on the floor. And then the dude goes in the first game he got in, he had 7 rebounds in 10 minutes, 3 offensive rebounds, more than anybody on the entire team in the entire game. He out-rebounded anyone on the team in 10 minutes. That's how this dude rebounds. It should just be obvious that that's what you need on one of the worst rebounding teams in the NBA. It should be obvious. So he lies to the media. He will never admit that he was wrong, and he actually gets pissed off when he's proven wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I think Doc is pretty much definitely going to be the downfall of this team, the same way he was the downfall of the Clippers. They had every advantage when he blew those leads, that 3-1 playoff lead and whatever other 3-1 playoff leads that he blew, man. He was it lasts long enough until it really comes out that, okay, we blamed everyone else. Now it's definitely Doc Rivers.
Well, I think that the 76ers, if everything works right, I think they win in 6. If everything goes bad, I think the Raptors win in 6. I think that's how the series can flip. I'm more leaning the 76ers winning in 6, but if it goes bad, the Raptors can win, obviously.
I think there's going to be a couple of bad games for the Sixers, and the fans are going to freak out, and everybody's going to think it's over. There's going to be a couple of games where it looks like they out hustle us, out rebound us, out everything. But I think in the end, James is going to give us 20 and 10. Tyrese is going to step up. Joel is going to give us 30 and 15, and we could beat the Raptors. But if you're asking me if they can beat Miami in the second round, if I had to bet my life savings on it, no, not this year. But I think this offseason, there's a lot of things that have to happen. I don't think Daryl Morey's really done with what he wanted to do with this team in the first place, because he just got here last season, had to get rid of Al Horford, had to do all these things. Then the Ben Simmons thing went down. Tobias Harris is still a $180 million contract that literally can't be on the team next year because of just the size of the contract, and he's a 16-point-per-game player.
How are you going to get rid of him? I keep hearing that. Like, what are y'all attaching picks to him?
You have to almost. If you want to fill out, if you want, okay, if Bradley Beal wants to leave Washington, for example, you can't have Tobias Harris here. You can't. The money doesn't work. Or
you think they would take Tobias?
No, I'm just saying you'd have to get rid of him somehow if you're going to sign Bradley as a free agent, or if you're going to try to sign veteran free agents and have a better bench than you had this year, or have more defensive 3-and-D guys or combo scorers or whatever. It's just Tobias. He's a meh. Like, Tobias versus Toronto this season averages 12 points per game. 12. Because against the most athletic teams, he's bad. He can't. He's such a tweener. He's not fast enough to be a small forward. He's not big and strong enough to be a power forward.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. When Tobias has a good shooting night, it's like, yay, Tobias is good tonight. But that's really it if he's making shots. But if he's not, man, he's bad.
He might end up getting outplayed by Scotty Barnes.
I do not want the Sixers to lose this, for the simple fact that I'm just going to hear from Toronto fans on my YouTube channel for the entire offseason until they fizzle out.
Yeah, they have an entire country back in their team, my bro. So
I don't know. What are they? They don't have anything to do in Toronto, I think.
They do. They love the Raptors. They love F1. They love hockey, but they are very, very sold out on the Raptors. NBA champion Raptors.
Oh, they think they're the best team in the world every year. Best team in the world. But what I'm saying is, like, when it comes to just my experience on YouTube, I can make a Denver Nuggets post there. Denver's very cult-like too, where a lot similar to Toronto. Like when I had like 500 subscribers or 1,000, and I had a post game like it had like 8,000 views, and they were all Toronto Raptors fans, and I was like, where? What?
They were hate watching.
I wasn't even on the algorithm. How'd you guys even find my stuff? Yeah, they're wild out there, man. They're wild.
Look, I do think they have a chance to win, man. But I really want to know, because you said no, but he's going to ask for a 4-year, $233 million extension. What are you going to tell him? No. And then what?
Yeah, if he's playing the way that he's playing right now, he's not playing like a superstar.
You think Daryl Morey going to tell him no?
It's tough, man. He's at an age where, look, if you don't have an off-season regimen, if you don't take care of your body, if you're not dedicated, if you're not, almost psychotic about it like a LeBron James, if you want to play until you're 38, you got to be crazy about your physical fitness and your health. James Harden has notoriously been just, he tells stories. I was hanging out with little baby until 4 a.m. in my home studio, and then went to play a game the next day. Like, no, you got your diet has to be right. Your sleep schedule has to be right. Everything has to be right for you to play well into your 30s. You can do that when you're 25. You can do that. I used to show up to a court when I was 18, not stretch, ate like 20 chicken nuggets and played for 7 hours. Doesn't work like that when you're 32. and the hamstring injuries on top of that, I don't think he's prepared to try to take himself that far.
So have you embraced him? Does he feel like a 76er?
No, it's just too early yet. It hasn't been enough games. And he was good for 4 games, and he was bad for a lot of them. Like 3 for 17, 2 for 18, really bad shooting. And we're like, where's the James we got? Then somebody shows me a video of him just last season with a putback dunk. Like, where's that athleticism right now? It has to be the hamstring. It has to be.
I mean, maybe he should took that De'Aaron Fox deal, bro. I mean, we talked about that too. I don't know, man. Darrow's, he wanted the superstar. He got the superstar. Like I said, I hope it works out. Because it looks like, I don't know. It looks like you're going to be stuck with him, bro. So hopefully it works out.
He's not playing like a superstar. Look, but if he's dedicated this offseason to getting it back, that's different. But I don't think he's ever had a dedicated offseason regimen. Like, when's the last time he has? He showed up in Houston 30 pounds overweight, took off the fat suit in 3 weeks, and went to Brooklyn. And I haven't seen it from him yet in his career. In Houston, he was in his physical prime. He was happy with the situation for a long time, I think. And once he got unhappy with the situation and wanted out, and they said no, he was like, fine. But I just don't think he's ever had a dedicated off-season regimen to try. I think he can get it back if he really wants to be great. But if he wants to be great for a lot more years, for a couple more years. But it's like, some of these players like James Harden remind me of Terrell Owens, Randy Moss. I don't know. They get a certain amount of money. They never really had a great work ethic in the first place. And they're like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm chilling. A lot of natural ability. I'm not saying he didn't work hard to get there, but once he got there, he lived on what he had, and now it's declining. And so, does he really care enough to bring it back up, or is he just? Would you rather
have Jamal Murray or James Harden?
Jamal Murray, easy.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. What is he? 26?
25. Just turned 25.
10 times out of 10, I'm taking Jamal Murray. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's just interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I get it, man. We're still waiting on Jamal. He's been past the physical threshold for the ACL. He could play this weekend if he wants to. Just he doesn't mentally. We don't know if he is mentally. He's trying to get back ready to do everything he was doing with his body before. MPJ is not coming back this year, so I mean, we might have to wait till next year, man. It might just be Jokic and friends until the start of next season. That we're back in this whole process, trying to see the whole team together for the first time in a year and a half.
Yeah, I hope MPJ can stay healthy for a good stretch, man, because he's such a good talent, but he's always had some injuries, man. I hope he can stay healthy for a good stretch. He's really good when he's healthy, man. He's really good. Has the potential to be really good. Aaron Cabbage, thanks for the support. I actually think Miami is better for us matchup-wise. Embiid can shut down Bam, and having him guard a poor shooter is better than guarding Achua. Also, Shake and Maxey have proven to be able to torch Hero. Yeah, we actually beat Miami without Embiid and Harden.
Oh, I remember, because the Nuggets timeline was slandering the 76ers. I remember.
But the game that we played them before that was before Harden was on our team. They smacked us by 30.
Yeah, because they were literally triple teaming Joel Embiid. I saw.
Yeah, that's what happens. That's why I say the roster construction around Embiid matters a lot, because if he's getting triple teamed, what's he supposed to do? He's not the floor general that a 7-foot point guard Jokic is. He's not. It's hard to. That's why it's always hard to compare those two players, because I think one has advantages and the other one has advantages, but. Joel gets triple teamed, and it's turnovers, it's offensive fouls, it's he has to have players around him that can make things happen.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I hope it works out for him, man. I think he has a chance. I know, and again, I sincerely mean this, bro. I do hope that he wins an MVP eventually. I know that matters to your city a lot. I know right now y'all are playing it off because y'all feel bitter, but I know it means a lot to Philly. But I love, like, I'm not gonna lie, I love interacting with Philly fans.
I don't
know
why it matters that much though. He won the scoring title. He's the best. He's the best scorer in the league right now. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, but scoring title.
Iverson has 4 of them. Yeah, it means something. Iverson has 4 of them.
Yeah, well, no one talks about that. Like when you in his MVP, your MVP is a part of your actual like legacy. I don't even remember how many scoring titles Michael had.
Nah. Oh my god.
Yes, they are.
Like 6 or 7.
Every top 10 player,
because
they're shrouded.
Guess who controls you getting a scoring title? You as a player. Guess who controls you winning MVP? A bunch of voters.
Okay, Kareem has 6 of them. Michael has 5 of them. LeBron has 4 of them. Wilt had 2 of them. Magic had 3 of them. Bird had 3 of them, and 3 in a row, I might add. Kobe had 1 of them, and then Duncan had 4 of them, I want to say. And then he had 5 championships as well. Shaq had 1 of them, and Hakeem had 1 of them. Like, so everyone in the top 10, Kevin Durant, Steph, 2, Durant 1, everybody in the top 15 has an MVP and championships.
Up until the last, 2 seasons, it was always who's the best player on the best team. This is the first time I've seen a 6th seed, win his second MVP in a row.
Well, again, it's context, bro. That's what I wish people would stop focusing.
I'm just saying years ago that wouldn't have happened. They would have been like, you can't do it. You can't do it for it.
They would have gave it to Devin Booker.
On that team, sure.
They would have gave it to Devin Booker, and we would have been still sitting here like, "What are you talking about?"
No, they would have given it to Joel Embiid.
No, they wouldn't have. He's a 4th seed. They would have given it to Devin Booker. He won 64 games on the number 1 seed, averaged 26, 5, and 5. They would have gave it to Devin Booker, and it wouldn't have made sense.
They would have gave it to Giannis.
He's a 3 seed with more. Didn't win 60-plus games. He only won 51 games as the 3 seed. They would have gave it to Devin, who had 13 more wins. It was the best
argument
player
for
in the
Devin
roster.
Booker is always going to be that Chris Paul is the glue, is leading the team.
But I'm saying, did you see what happened in the last 3 weeks? He wasn't on the MVP ballot before John Moran started pushing them top 3. And all of a sudden, Stephen A. Smith, Michael Wilbon voted Joel Embiid and Devin Booker. Go ahead.
Which is another problem with the voting. Players get hot for 2 months, and they're on the MVP ladder. Like, what happened to all of the historic things Joel Embiid was doing for 6 straight months? No, now we only care about who got hot at the end of the season.
You talking about Jokic?
No, I'm talking about Devin Booker. Everybody else they started throwing up there,
Right.
Luka
Devin
Doncic,
Booker, some people have voted Devin Booker over Jokic. That's what I'm telling you, bro. Like, again, man, like that stuff is nonsense. Devin Booker doesn't touch the same planet as Embiid, Giannis, or Jokic. And he doesn't deserve any MVP candidacy.
I totally agree with that. What do you think about who's in the play-in right now? So the Clippers lost last night.
Yeah, the Hawks just beat the Charlotte Hornets, so they play against the Cleveland Cavaliers to get into the playoffs.
And Charlotte doesn't get a second chance. They don't get to play a loser.
No, they're done.
Team or anything
yeah, they're
like
done.
Right.
They're done.
Brooklyn
and right now,
last night.
Yeah, and then right now, who's playing right now? The Pelicans and Spurs are playing right now.
So
I think the Pelicans are going to win.
The Clippers get to play in the losing game, right?
Yeah, they played a winner of the 9-10 game, so they played a winner of the Spurs Pelicans game.
Okay, so then the Cleveland Cavaliers play the Atlanta Hawks. That's what you just said.
Yeah.
All right, and Brooklyn secured the 7th seed.
They're playing against Boston.
Who are you taking in that one?
Bro, if Robert Williams was playing, I would be so confident. I think Boston still wins. I would say Boston in 7. That series is going to go tight. Jason Tatum's been on another level. Jaylen Brown's been great. But not having Robert Williams, man, like they still got Al Horford, but I mean, Time Lord has been he's been great this season. He's been freaking amazing this season.
Yes. The combination of Horford, him, and Daniel Tice they shut down Embiid in that matchup when they smacked us by
that's crazy,
38 points or something. I think they're deeper. I think they're a better defensive team. I think Brooklyn's going to have. I've said it since the beginning of that super team being put together. Even when James was there, they're going to have phenomenal performances from their stars.
Yeah,
they don't have enough outside of that. So last night again, Kyrie. Whatever Kyrie's feeling like right now from Ramadan, and in his own words, God is lifting him up, whatever. I believe him because he did it last night. I don't know what else to say. I believe everything the guy says. He was shooting 100% halfway through the 4th quarter. He was 11 for 11, 12 for 12. I'm like, bro, Everyone calls Kyrie an idiot all the time. I'm starting to believe him because the dude's on a different planet right now. But I don't, they're going to have games where they don't shoot that well. And who's stepping up? Seth Curry.
Yeah, Bruce Brown played well. Ben Simmons might be back for the playoffs. That's the thing. He may be back for the playoffs. I forget he's on the team half the time now. So, I mean, we'll see. Bruce Brown's Ben Simmons supposed to he wasn't going to be active to the play-in, but the possibility he can return for the first round.
They would be stupid to do that.
To play him?
The Brooklyn Nets would be stupid to try to play him randomly like that. He's too unique of a player. You need time to figure out who's going to be where, what you do. What position does he even play? Is he a point guard? The four, how?
Well, it's going to be like their ideal lineup. It will be Drummond.
4-on-5. Nobody's guarding him. You're playing 4-on-5. Now there's easier double teams with Kyrie. And the reason they ran away from the Cavs last night is because the Cavs started doubling Kyrie every time he crossed half court, and they ran that little Bruce Brown at the free throw line.
Yeah, Bruce Brown at pick and roll. Yeah,
and it worked over and over and over. You're just gonna.
You don't think he could do that?
No, if Ben is in the game, you're gonna make that double team even easier. Nobody's guarding him.
So, do you think Ben, as a roller, like he wouldn't be like able to do what Bruce Brown does?
No, because Bruce Brown was catching the ball around the free throw line, and they were stepping up to him. Then nobody steps up to Ben Simmons.
Ben has a push shot.
Literally from a foot away from the rim. He has to be way down there, and he still does an awkward turnaround, like right-handed flick shot. Yeah. If he had a floater, he would be much more lethal than he is.
I don't know if you've seen the highlight tapes coming out of the Nets practices, but he's hitting 3-pointers now.
He's been hitting 3-pointers in practice. He was hitting jump shots in the summer league 5 years ago. He had an interview on ESPN after a summer league game, and he said, "Yeah, today we were focusing on me getting some jump shots up. I just wanted to come out here and prove to everybody that I can shoot the ball." What happened? 5 years later, he still won't shoot.
I feel like throughout the entire Joe Embiid tenure in Philadelphia, you all are going to talk about Ben Simmons, because I think there's like an actual place of hurt there. I think the city actually is hurt because of how much they were rooting for Ben, how much they put into Ben, how much they supported Ben, and then for Ben to collapse like he did, and then the way it ended, and then now that literally put Joel Embiid in a tough spot, because even if you got James Harden because of it, James might not end up being what you thought he was, and so you wouldn't have to get him.
Yeah,
if Ben turned out. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of hurt there for a long time.
Ben Simmons is easily the most hated player to ever play in the city of Philadelphia by a mile, because the city will boo players that aren't good or don't live up to their potential, but these fans see when somebody's trying to be great and somebody's just trying and failing. This dude actually quit and actually called out the fans several times and actually blamed everybody but himself. Just 2 nights ago, Alec Boehm, the Phillies third baseman, was getting he had 3 errors in a row, right? He finally made an out, and the arena cheered sarcastically, like literally making fun of him for not being able to make a simple throw to first base. He turns around and he says out loud, "I fucking hate this place." And it gets captured on camera. And so now the city's about to hate this guy, right? He says in the post game, "Yeah, I said that, but I didn't mean it." You know what I mean? Like, this city's tough to play in, but I love it. I was just frustrated. He owned up to what he said. He said, "I made 3 errors in a row. I wasn't good, whatever." They gave him a standing ovation the next game. That's all Ben Simmons ever had to do, is say, "I let my team down in the fourth quarter of that game. I should have played better," and they would have loved him. But the fact that he acted like it was everybody else's fault, that dude, and listen, him and Doc Rivers together are the worst combination. That's 2 narcissistic maniacs blaming the entire world and will never take accountability for anything. That's crazy, actually.
Y'all talk about Ben Simmons and Doc Rivers like they're Batman villains, bro. I'm not gonna lie to y'all.
Putting those 2 together was crazy, because we were like, we finally got an old school coach that's gonna be hard on this guy, and we start to see this, and we're like, wait a minute, this guy's arguing with the media. We've been saying the same thing for 4 seasons. You're just stepping in here defending him. It was destined to be a failure, and it's part of it's Doc Rivers' fault, because he enabled it more than Brett Brown did. It's just, I don't think the Nets should try to play him, though. I think it's too much to figure out offensively in the half court. How can he play with 4? He can't shoot.
Well, he plays in the dunker spot. He would just be the roll man and playing the dunker spot.
That's a very expensive roll man in the dunker spot. Then they trade him, right?
No, I honestly think they need somebody to play some dang defense, bro. Like besides Bruce Brown, like they need an actual defender. So like they're not going to win anything without Ben Simmons this season. If he just played defense, Kyrie and Durant would be able to do enough most nights offensively. They need a defender.
So a max contract defender.
Right now, until he gets back to being 16, 8, and 8. I don't know, bro. I don't know what to tell you, man. Their roster doesn't make sense to me.
They're going to get beat because of their lack of depth, and they're not going to be able to pay a max contract defender because nobody will. Eventually, the Ben Simmons thing will fizzle out. He's like a hip hop artist that has 3 hits, you know. Eventually, he's like a Bobby Shmurda, you know. Is he good? Is he good at rapping? No, he had 1 hit. Eventually, you know, he's going to try to reinvent that 2 or 3 times, and then he's done.
What about the day he says he wants to come back from Philly? He's grown. He's grown as a man. I want to come back to Philly.
He's never coming back to Philly.
That'd be the ultimate redemption story. Ben takes a couple years. He realizes that he was the problem. He's 26, 27 years old now. He's like, you know what? I made a mistake. It was my fault. I owe the city of Philadelphia. I'm going to come win you a championship. He comes back like a raging bull and wins y'all a championship.
What would make him do that? Like he's
maturity. Maturity.
Doc Rivers is 60 years old and is still refusing to be wrong about anything. That's going to be Ben Simmons. He might be a coach one day. Sitting up in front of the media, telling everyone they're wrong.
Can you – all right, I understand, bro. Can you please tell Joel Embiid to stop doing a press tour telling everyone that people hate him? Is that possible?
No, they hate him. They hate the process. They hate him. They've hated it since it started. He is the birth child of the process. They hated Sam Hinkie. They hated the tanking. They hated what came of the process. That is Joel Embiid.
So you feel like
and
the
now
media
he finally is healthy, has an amazing season. And what do they say? Do they talk about how amazing his season is all the time? No.
Yes.
They talk about how many free throws he shoots.
Who's they?
The haters. The people that hate him.
ESPN loves him. Loves him. Fox Sports loves him.
Well, then there's enough haters a few steps under that don't love him.
I love Joel Embiid. Me, this person, Swipa, loves watching Joel Embiid play. He has more lovers than haters.
I don't know, man. I don't think he does.
Look, man, I'll tell you what. I hope James Harden works out because I don't know what y'all going to do because this is the 4th iteration y'all have had around Joel Embiid in 4 years. 4th team you've had around him. You had Jimmy, Tobias, Ben, Harden, all these other pieces.
Right. So well, like when you look at it a certain way and then, you know, from the outside, you could look at that and say, eventually, isn't it Joel Embiid's fault? But just look at Allen Iverson for 10 years. They could never put anybody worthwhile around him.
The ownership?
Yeah. Yeah. It's what it is. And they extended Brett Brown for 3 years, which who knows why, because they were all friends. It's rich people, helping out their friends. And then they realize, like, all right, the city hates us now. We got to do something. So they're like, Doc Rivers is available. He's good, right? They don't know. Yeah, get him. Nobody in the meeting stepped up and said, hey, guys, just chill for a second. He has the most blown playoff leads in NBA history. The Clippers just fired him and he had 2 superstars on the team and blew a 3-1 lead. Maybe we shouldn't do this. Nobody said that. Big name. Doc Rivers, get him right now. And it ends up, so Joel hasn't had the right roster and he hasn't had the right coach around him. Would y'all
trade him to Denver?
Who?
We'll give you Michael Porter Jr. for Joel Embiid straight up right now.
No, what?
And then help him come win a championship in Denver. Can you imagine how good him and Jokic would be together?
Yeah, they would be great. The best center in the world, Joel Embiid, and the best point guard.
That would be Tim Duncan and David Robinson in 2022. It would be lovely.
Then Jokic would never have to get in the post because he would have an actual great post player on his team.
Jokic would average 12, 18, and 20, and he would love it. He would love the fact he doesn't have to score.
I believe that. No, they're never trading Embiid. He's one of those players you're just going to try until.
You think he would ever ask? Would he ever ask out if it doesn't work out next year and a half?
I don't think he would ever ask. I think he's like a Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think he's like a Nikola Jokic. I think he's like foreign-born players that aren't into like American lifestyle, don't really care about being a celebrity, don't really care about, being rich and famous, none of that. They're just like happy to be here. You know what I mean? Came from playing soccer on the dirt streets of Cameroon, Africa. He's like, nah, I'm good.
Is this your best international superstar you ever had in Philly?
He's the best international superstar of all time.
In Philly? Yeah. I mean,
no, he's the best international. He's the best international center to ever play the game.
Not better than Hakeem, my friend.
He's better. He is more skilled.
He's not. Yes, he's not better than Hakeem Olajuwon.
Show me the tape. Show me the tape.
Show you the tape of. Have you seen the Dreams? Just go look up his stat. Just go look up his numbers by itself.
No. Again, we're not talking about numbers. That all has to do with who he was playing against, what team he was on, all those things.
We're talking about skill. Hakeem was an all-time defender and all-time offensive threat, bro. He was absolutely amazing.
By not looking at numbers, just looking at highlight tapes. Who has more skill with a basketball?
How do you measure skill? How are you measuring skill? Because Hakeem was probably still the most skilled.
Joel can do everything Hakeem did on a basketball court. There's not a single thing he does that Joel Embiid can't do. What? What did he do? What did he do with a basketball that Joel Embiid can't do?
Hakeem is
not numbers. What could he do on the court skill-wise that Joel Embiid can't do?
His footwork was all-time great.
Joel Embiid's footwork is all-time great.
But here's the thing. The same person that just said he's the most skilled big of all time just said that Nikola Jokic is the most skilled international big of all time, right after he said it about Embiid. So, I think all three of them are the most skilled players ever. They're all in the same tier of skill because Jokic is way more skilled than Embiid in some things, and Embiid is very, 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 very skilled in other things, like Hakeem was. So
you don't say more skilled than Jokic in other things.
Yeah, I think when his triple threat position, for instance, is way better than what Jokic does. Like I said, he's Kobe when he faces up. His face up game is it's unnerving because he's such a good shooter. The step backs, the side shuffles. My favorite Embiid move by far is when he gets the ball on the left wing or the left post, and literally he faces you up and you think he's about to shoot. Instead of going under, he goes over. He steps over your line, one dribble. Yeah. In front of everybody. It's my favorite thing to watch Embiid do. I know he doesn't do as much as he used to.
I don't like comparing older players because it's just a different era. Players today are doing way more with the ball than they were doing back then. So it's easy for somebody to say, it's easy for me to say he's better because he hit step back threes. Like those guys weren't practicing step back threes. I'm not saying, Jordan could have been a 40% 3-point shooter if they were practicing. They had one guy on the team in the 90s. That was the thing. You had one sniper. Everybody wasn't a 3-point shooter, so it's just different. Can't really argue that. But if you're just putting them next to each other on what they do with the ball, yeah, Joel Embiid's the most skilled center of all time. It's easy.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I'm watching the dude in Denver win 2 MVPs, my man. I don't know what to say, bro. I don't know what to say, my friend. Because he's way athletic.
2 media trophies.
He's way less athletic than Embiid, but yet he's still as effective as he is. That's what I mean. So at some point it has to be skill. The skill has to be what's separating him because Embiid is just a way better physical athlete than he is.
Yeah, Jokic is a 7-foot point guard. It's a positionless game. He doesn't play center. He's a point guard.
I mean, but it's just
That's my final argument. It's my final argument.
All right, yeah, I'll give it to you. It's your platform, your channel. I'll give it to you, man.
We're on your channel too, man. It's your platform too.
Nah, man, y'all really cared about that MVP award, and I know that it got toxic at the last 3 weeks when the straw poll came out. And ever since then, it's been mayhem on Twitter. But I do hope that he wins one day.
Wordplay with a $5 super chat. Yo, this is fantastic. Love that y'all are bringing these two cities together to talk basketball respect. Yeah, thank you. And you know what, man? People should be able to do this more often. The thing about the NBA community, especially on Twitter and Facebook, it's the most toxic thing in the world. You can't even have difference of opinions with people and respect each other as people at the same time. It's just sports. People get so angry. They hate each other over these opinions. You know,
I know. You saw my Twitter.
Mature enough to have the conversation. Even though I think some of the things you say are crazy, you probably think some of the things I say are crazy. But we're mature enough to have the conversation.
You don't say anything crazy. You if you have a strong opinion about something, you just don't say it. I say it. That's the difference. I'm gonna outright say it. Like sometimes you stay in your basketball lane. If it's like outside of basketball, you're just more hesitant.
I'm not. No, I'm not.
But you saw some of your 76ers fans been saying to me, so I ain't never brought that energy to the table. I'll be minding my business, bro.
No, yeah, I talk sports on the internet. If I start to the other things.
But here's the thing: I have not said a single negative thing about Embiid or the 76ers on my timeline. Yet people come from me and they be hating me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They hate you because you're not saying Joel Embiid is the MVP. That's how fans of a city are. Denver fans think that anybody that says Jokic isn't the MVP are idiots and don't know ball. And you know what I mean? You don't know ball. You're an idiot. You know, whatever. It is what it is. Alan Ayub, thanks for the support, man. Celtics would shut Ben Simmons down so bad. Yeah, no, he can't play. They can't bring him back round one. That doesn't make any sense. I don't think that makes sense. But so what are your predictions? What are your predictions for your Denver Nuggets?
If it goes terrible, it's gonna be 4-2 Warriors. If it goes the right way, it's gonna be 4-2 Nuggets. But if it goes terrible, it's more likely to go terrible than it is to go great. So it's more likely to be 4-2 Warriors than a 4-2 Nuggets. But
you think the Nuggets have a chance to win that series?
Yeah, because they just have the matchup advantages versus the Warriors on the important positions. They don't have any interior presence whatsoever. And the Nuggets are very big with Boogie, Jokic, Jeff Green, Zeke Naji, Michael Green. They just have a lot more size, and that's going to matter, especially as you get later into the game and securing offensive rebound and all that. And the offensive rebound and defensive rebound, limiting them to one possessions. But the Warriors are so great defensively; they cause so many turnovers. They have such great shooters. Really, if everything goes bad and the Warriors are just outplaying and the role players aren't stepping up, then it's going to be 4-2. It's going to be 4-2. The Warriors, easy.
What's Jokic's stat line going to have to look like for them to win that series? 40, 20, and 15?
Nah, I mean, probably like 35, like 16 and 7 or 8. The thing is, if I'm the Warriors, I'm going to do what the Clippers did. I'm going to front him, and I'm going to give weak side help. You can't even get him the ball. Don't even let him get the ball because he's going to cook you on ISO or he's going to cook you on double team. I'd much rather just say Aaron Gordon, Monte, or Will beat me. Because I'm not letting him get the ball. I just literally would not let him touch the ball in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. And what's your honest prediction for Sixers-Raptors series?
Everything goes well for the Sixers, 4-2. If everything goes terrible for the Sixers, it's going to be 4-2 for 4-3 or 4-3 Raptors. If it goes really well, this means that James Harden is playing very, very, very well. Your role players are stepping up doing what they're supposed to do. Embiid is good, but it can go bad. And
thinking it's going to go well every game is not realistic at all. It's not going to go well. That's why I say Sixers in 6. There's going to be a couple really bad ones.
Yeah, but when I say go bad, I mean like Pascal Siakam is embarrassing you, and he's teetering as the best player in the series because there's no answer for him whatsoever. That's what I mean. Like. If there's no answer for Pascal, if Doc, as you know, who's stubborn as heck,
he's a 29% 3-point shooter. He all of a sudden decided to shoot 45% or whatever it was.
But you know what it is though. Like you know what happens. Like that's what I'm saying. The best case, the 76ers beat the Raptors in 6, and then I think they can win. I think the 76ers do win the series, but I won't be surprised if the Raptors win.
See, this is the thing right here. Look, bro, I'm not talking about accomplishments. When did I say? I'm talking about on the court with the ball. Who has more skill? I don't think you can argue that any center ever could do more with a basketball on a basketball.
You can't argue that, my brother. You can't argue that somebody else is more skilled. There's somebody in the NBA right now you can make an argument with Joel Embiid for. This is the problem. Like. This is, and we have to have a
nuance. Jokic is the better player. Jokic is the better NBA player. Joel Embiid is the better center. You said that yourself because Jokic is a point guard. 7 foot.
But what separates them? And it can't just be IQ. Their skill has to be involved somewhere. If he's less skilled than Embiid and they're scoring at the same level, Like there has to be something there, and especially if he's as efficient as he is. I mean, there has to be something there. That's what I'm saying. It's just not an argument. Embiid has an argument, but there's
very
an
skilled.
argument.
He's just a point guard. He's a very skilled 7.
I don't know what that means. How he put what that means? There's skill involved in being a point guard.
Yeah,
there's at least
Joel Embiid's the most skilled center of all time.
All right.
No, this was fun, man. You got anything else? I'm about to get up out of here. This was fun.
No, this is cool, man. No, this is fun, bro. I appreciate it.
The chat is always nice and toxic. Sad that the people that have actual content in the chat get overshadowed by all the toxicity, but it is what it is. On both sides, by the way. Mr. Bing, thanks for the support. Embiid went from a raw kid who broke his foot twice to becoming Hakeem Kobe hybrid. We may never see a talent like him again. Thank you. Now you can. That's what I'm saying. See, you can call him a Hakeem Kobe hybrid.
Right.
Was Hakeem a Hakeem Kobe hybrid, or was he just Hakeem? So we're saying he has what Hakeem had plus a 3-point step back mid range. Like that's what I'm saying. Thank you, Mr. Bing. You're 100% right. I hope he has the accomplishments at the end of his career because he'll never get respected for how skilled he was. But we'll just see.
Yeah, he will. But he will go down as a Hall of Fame player, and he will be remembered as being one of the greatest bigs of his generation, and he'll be remembered like KG is in the 2000 generation. All-time great player. All-time great player.
I agree with that.
Just the difference is Nikola Jokic would be remembered as Tim Duncan of his era.
This is the Joel Embiid era we are in right now.
No, yeah.
All right, my man Swipa. Thanks for coming through, man. I appreciate it as always.
I appreciate you, brother. Great channel, man. Support your dude. Send him the super chats, super stickers, and all that, man. Support the man making this great content for y'all on a daily basis.
Support Swipa Cam and follow him on Twitter. He doesn't have enough 76ers fans following him on Twitter.
That's facts. I do more.
All right, man. Good luck against the Warriors.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.